Think about your current job for a second. Maybe you deal with passive-aggressive emails. Maybe your boss tracks your bathroom breaks like a prison guard. Maybe you are currently sitting in a cubicle, questioning every life choice that led you to a place that smells faintly of microwaved tilapia. Now imagine your job description is pretending to be a bloodthirsty gangster in Hong Kong, while secretly being a low-paid government employee with a pension plan. Welcome to the world of undercover policing inside a Triad syndicate. In Hollywood movies, this looks amazing. You wear a tailored black suit, drive a sports car with a manual transmission, and engage in high-octane rooftop shootouts while slow-motion white doves fly past your face. In reality, your first day on the job involves a very damp basement, a lot of incense, and a massive amount of existential dread. Because the first thing you have to do to join a triad is survive the onboarding seminar. Only instead of a slideshow about sexual harassment in the workplace, you have to take the 36 traditional oaths. These are ancient, sacred vows that date back centuries. They include swearing absolute, eternal loyalty to your new brothers. They include promising never to betray the secrets of the clan. And they conclude with the explicit understanding that if you break any of these rules, you will be chopped into 1,000 tiny pieces by a rusty meat cleaver. Which, honestly, is still a slightly more humane corporate exit strategy than Amazon Prime. The initiation ceremony is incredibly intense. You have to crawl under a canopy of sharp swords. You have to drink a mixture of rice wine vermilion and a few drops of actual blood from your fellow recruits. And as a modern, college-educated police academy graduate, your main thought during this deep spiritual bonding ritual isn't about honor. It is about hepatitis C. You are just standing there trying to look tough, while silently hoping the local health department shut down this specific basement 3 weeks ago. Once you complete the ritual, you are officially given the lowest rank in the syndicate, in the traditional triad grading system. Every position is assigned a specific 3-digit number based on ancient mystic codes. The big boss is the Dragon Head, also known as a 489. The main enforcer is the Red Pole, or a 426. The guy who handles the money and the legal paperwork is the White Paper Fan, or a 415. And you are a 49, a Blue Lantern, a foot soldier, an entry-level grunt, which means your primary responsibility to organized crime is standing on a street corner in Kowloon at 4 in the morning, making sure the local parking enforcement officers don't ticket the illegal street racing vans. It is a glamorous life. And here is the fun part about Hong Kong law. Under the Societies Ordinance, simply claiming to be a member of a triad is a major criminal offense. You don't even have to steal a car or punch anyone. If you just stand in front of a mirror, look at yourself, and say the words out loud, you have technically committed a crime that carries a massive prison sentence. So your very first day on the job as a law enforcement officer is spent committing a felony. And the only thing protecting you from your own coworkers in the police department is a highly confidential piece of paper locked in a safe at headquarters, signed by a very stressed out bureaucrat who probably forgot your real name. But wait, it gets dumber. Once you are inside, you realize very quickly that organized crime is not particularly organized. It is mostly just mid-level management nightmares. Your immediate supervisor is usually a 22-year-old kid whose street name is something terrifying like Iron Fist or Blood Eagle. But his actual daily personality is exactly like an assistant manager at a Foot Locker. He will call you at 2 in the morning to scream at you because the counterfeit luxury handbag division didn't submit their gas receipts on time. He will get deeply offended if you don't show up to his cousin's birthday party at an incredibly loud karaoke bar. And you have to sit there nodding respectfully while he drinks expensive brandy out of a plastic cup and explains his brilliant strategy for dominating the local illegal fruit wholesale market. But you are a trained detective, capable of analyzing complex forensics and profiling dangerous minds. And you are spending your Tuesday night explaining to a guy named Big Head how to use Excel spreadsheets so he doesn't lose track of his extortion revenue. The psychological toll of this is genuinely weird. To be a successful undercover cop, you have to become a highly charismatic liar. You have to hang out with these people every single day for 6 months, 12 months, or even 2 years. You eat dim sum with them. You watch soccer matches with them. You listen to them complain about their mothers-in-law. You become their friend. And the entire time, you are wearing a tiny hidden microphone or sneaking away to a public bathroom stall to text your real police handler updates about exactly which shipping container contains the smuggled cigarettes. If you stay in character too long, the lines start to blur. You start to look at regular citizens and think, those people are civilians. You start to look at normal police officers and think those guys are nerds. And then you remember that you are, in fact, one of the nerds. The hardest part of the job is the absolute ban on committing actual violence. The Department of Justice gives undercover operations very strict boundaries. You are allowed to look like a criminal, and you are allowed to talk like a criminal, but you cannot actively participate in serious violent crimes. Which sounds great on paper, but imagine you are walking down an alley with 3 of your Triad brothers, and suddenly a rival gang jumps out of a van carrying meat cleavers and metal pipes. Your brothers immediately charge into battle. You, according to your police manual, are supposed to politely abstain. So you have to invent a sudden, highly aggressive digestive emergency. You have to fall to the ground, clutching your stomach, screaming about a bad piece of pork belly, while a massive turf war happens 3 feet away from you. It takes an incredible amount of acting talent to make a rival gang member look at you and think, yeah, that guy isn't a cop, he just has terrible gut health. If your performance works, however, you face a much more terrifying risk: getting promoted. In the real world, if you are a hard worker who shows up on time and doesn't steal from the register, you get a small raise and a pat on the back. In a triad. If you are a hard worker who shows up on time and doesn't steal from the register, the dragon head looks at you and thinks, wow, this guy has real leadership potential. Suddenly, you are promoted to a 426 red pole. You are now the regional director of extortion, which means you are now personally responsible for managing payroll for 40 teenage delinquents who cannot read, while simultaneously trying to explain to the Hong Kong Police Force Accounting Department why your undercover budget was spent entirely on gold chains and fake Supreme shirts. You have to file expense reports for illegal activities. How do you write that down? Entertainment expenses, consulting fees for local protection services. If you lose a receipt for a bribe you gave to a doorman, the police auditors will destroy your life faster than any gangster ever could. There was a famous real-world operation in the late 90s called Operation Andy, where a single undercover detective managed to completely infiltrate the Wo Hop 2 gang. He was so good at his job, so reliable, and so calm under pressure that the gang leadership kept giving him more power. By the end of the operation, he was basically running the entire neighborhood's criminal operations, while secretly funneling every single detail back to the anti-triad unit. When the net finally came down, the police arrested over 40 high-ranking members in a single night based almost entirely on his personal diary. Imagine that performance review. Exceeded expectations, organized multiple successful racketeering operations, arrested all of his direct reports. But when the operation ends, the comedy stops very abruptly. The final stage of an undercover assignment is the trial. You don't just disappear into the night like a ghost. You have to walk into an open courtroom, sit in the witness box, look at the people you spent the last 2 years drinking beer with, and testify against them. You have to read your own notes out loud. You have to play the audio recordings. You have to look into the eyes of the guy who invited you to his wedding and tell the judge exactly how many illegal gambling dens he operates. It is the ultimate, most awkward breakup speech in human history, and it happens in front of a jury. After that, Your life as a cool, dangerous gangster is completely over. You can't go back to the streets. You can't go back to the tea restaurants. You are given a commendation, maybe a small bonus, and then you are transferred to a completely different department, like the traffic division. So you go from dodging meat cleavers and managing millions of dollars in black market revenue to standing in the rain writing parking tickets for people who forgot to pay their meters. And every time someone argues with you about a $50 fine, you have to actively resist the urge to tell them that you used to be a 426 red pole who could have had their car melted into a cube. So what about you? Are you the kind of person who could spend 2 years pretending to be a criminal mastermind just to help the government audit some illegal fruit stands? Or do you start sweating the second a cashier asks if you want to sign up for a rewards card? Let me know down there